Welcome to the Northern Powerhouse interview series, where we're unashamedly spreading good news by interviewing Northern businesses and their successes during the pandemic. Subscribe to be notified of new interviews or click the link in the description to take part if you'd like to be interviewed yourself in a future episode. So welcome to Northern Powerhouses, our business success story set of interviews. Today we have with us Foster Mann of Foster Mann Accountancy. So Joseph, if you'd be kind enough to introduce yourself and tell us what you do and how you help your clients, that would be great.
Yeah, so hi, I'm obviously Joseph Mann, the Joint Managing Director of Foster Mann. I've been director now for 2 years, been working for 5 years. We're a small business based in Farsley. We've got 9 of us, myself and Hugh, the directors, and we're, I'd say, a rapidly growing accountancy firm, but trying to do it in the right way so that we don't lose any client contact and any of our, what I'd probably say are our strengths, and that we know all of our clients individually. They can all ring us whenever they want, and that, even though we've doubled our turnover in the past 2 years, that hasn't changed one little bit, and they can still access us whenever they want. So yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, and that whole personal service is something that's so valuable to many clients, especially if they're growing their business. And I notice on your website you use the term evolved accountancy. What is that part of what you've just described? Yeah, I mean, it's just trying to do it in a way that doesn't make your clients become a number, because we've especially in the past 2-3 years, we've had at least 5 people come to us and message us and just say, I used to have an accountancy firm, firm like yours. They got bought out by so-and-so, and since then I've just become a number, and I can't tell you the number of different people I've had to deal with. My query will start with one person and end with another person, and each of them pick it up and just say, can you tell me where we got up to? And it's just like, I want to have my accountant that I can ring. And I don't mind if it's one of your account managers or one of your team, as long as it's consistent, and I know that if I need to get to you, I can get to you. Yeah. And so every single one of our clients has access to me and Hugh via mobile, access to email, and we don't put any sort of, as long as they respect it, we don't put any sort of time limits on when they can call us, because then that way we know that if they call us on an evening or on a weekend, we know that it's urgent, and we haven't had a single client ever abuse that. Wonderful.
Well, that's, I mean, that sounds great, and I totally get that whole idea. An accountant is a key trusted advisor of the owner, and knowing that, as you say, I'm not going to get passed from pillar to post. I need to be able to trust someone like yourself. So that's wonderful. Yeah. So obviously, today we talk about the COVID outbreak and how it's affecting you. So if you look back over the last 12 months, what sort of things has the outbreak affected you in the business?
It's brought on tons of different challenges. Obviously, the working from home, a big challenge in that we've had to change the way we communicate with our staff, but also the way that our clients can interact with us, because obviously normally they just pop in whenever they wanted to, and the way we set it up when we get new clients, and that carries on when we've got existing clients and long-term clients, is we don't charge people when they want to come in and see us. So which makes it a really nice atmosphere, because we have clients popping in all the time, and they'll just pop in for a coffee and a chat, and they know they can do that, and it's not going to lead to a bill, but also some interesting stuff comes up, and sometimes new work comes up, which obviously is great for us, and sometimes by just talking to them, you actually get to the root of what their actual issues are, rather than just it being just a business transaction, which is definitely not what we want. So it's brought up different challenges with that in terms of the way we interact with them. Our business model sort of had to change slightly, in that we've had to do more sort of help with either personal finances or business finances, and obviously getting all these loans. And we've had to do, I think in the last year, we've done more cash flows and management accounts than we have done in the past 5 years. So that's changed slightly, and we've done a lot more dealings with clients, bank managers, and clients' banks, and having to do stuff like that. But it's all been different. It's all been exciting, and we've therefore sort of changed our business model in a little way to push more for management accounts, because apart from the fact of we've done them, a few of them because we've had to, we've done them for some clients, and then they've said, wow, this is amazing, getting us this information really up to date and really in time. Can we do more of this? And so it's like sort of changed the way we operate slightly, because it's interesting, because for about 3-4 years now, we've thought that's the way that business accountancy was going to go anyway. more real-time reporting, obviously with quarterly corporation tax potentially coming into play. So it was in our business model to start trying to pick up on these more frequent accounting and more frequent reporting, but we just didn't expect, obviously, COVID to be the key driver for that. So it's been quite cool in that sense.
Right, that's fascinating. So what sort of key adaptations have you made?
So we've obviously pushed cloud accounting with all of our clients, getting them onto cloud accounting.
Yep.
And getting all, because obviously these cloud accountings has their bank feeds downloading directly into the system, so it automates a lot more, which means that we don't need as much reliance on the client to provide us with information, because especially with COVID coming along, any like posting of invoices or however they do that's all become a lot more challenging, and with people not being in the office to process the bookkeeping and collect, well, obviously I'm in the office all the time and so is Hugh, but for the team members to come and collect the invoices, etc., it's not really ideal. So having all the accounting functions online and clients being able to scan in invoices, send them to us, we can then attach them to the accounting software, etc., etc. It's made it a lot more accessible for us to do the online reporting and to do the management accounting, which is what we feel is the most added value we can offer to a client. So because obviously it's the most expensive way of doing it, because you're obviously touching base with the client and producing things for them monthly or quarterly or however they want to do it, but you never actually know when you start it with a client where the value is going to get added.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting to delve in and see what they find interesting about their business and their different sales mixes, etc. Not the stuff that we think is interesting, because you really get into the numbers and get to see what's interesting.
It really, the more detail we get, it helps people just see. I never realised that was, we were doing so much business in this area, or this was the key area, these are the key area the costs were going. And amazing. And looking internally, what adaptations have you made in terms of your leadership and management of your team?
Sorry, Chris, you just repeat that. Sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, sure. As you're saying, if you look just looking internally to your own business, what adaptations have you had to make in terms of the leadership and management of your team?
So obviously it's become a lot more difficult, and that we're very hands-on with our training of our team. And we like to spend a lot of time sat next to our team members, talking to them, showing them how to do things, and then watching whilst they do it, seeing whether they actually do understand it by forcing them to do it themselves. And then we let them do it themselves, and then they come and report back to us how they've done it and then what challenges they faced, so that we can basically train them as quickly as possible, because we tend to try and fast track the learning of our staff so that they can start to deal with their own clients as quickly as possible. Because it benefits them, benefits us, and it also benefits the client, because everyone's able to do more and get more out of it. So that's obviously not been possible. So it's been more daily Zoom calls, messaging on, say, Microsoft Teams when they've got a problem, having to do screen shares. And that's obviously nowhere near as efficient for them or for us as working in the offices and having the direct contact. So that's definitely been a challenge. Yeah,
it's been really interesting, especially over the different lockdowns, seeing the reaction of people, because I think it has changed, hasn't it, from the initial, oh heck, what do we do, to getting comfortable, to then perhaps finding the best way forward.
It went from a stage as well where it was sort of using Zoom to get by until lockdown finished, to sort of then the realization that this is going to be like more of a longer term situation back in, say, June, July, where you're thinking this actually isn't going to end for a while, and we need to actually come up with a way which is actually going to work in the short to medium term, rather than just the very short term to get by. And this isn't going to be something that is just going to glide over. So that was quite a big realization as well.
And have you had many team members wanting to actively come back into the office and work, or are your team fairly comfortable working remotely?
They're sort of confident and comfortable working remotely. We'd rather they were here, because it makes our life a lot easier. But also not just that as well. It massively benefits their progression as an individual.
Yes. Yeah.
Not just in terms of the training, but also being part of a team and being in the physical presence of a team, having clients walk in, and just daily things that come up which you could never put in a job description, that benefit them as an all-round individual, that they don't get by sitting at home on a computer. And that's what, obviously, most people don't think of it that way, because all they see is less commuting time, less stress, and they can take their day, they can go and take their daily walk at home, and it's quite nice, and they can sit in the pajamas or whatever. But the actual progression that they get of as an individual all round, not just as an employee by being here, is, I think, a massive miss.
Yeah, I'm picking up the fact that I pick up the feeling that you're quite a people-oriented business in terms of the interaction with your clients. So I would imagine that.
Oh yeah, massively, yeah. And the clients come in, and we've got Deepa who sits on reception, and they come in and they all know her, and they all ask how she's doing, and they can see the team working, and they all ask how they're doing. And it's not a case of the clients come in and they're wanting it's just come in, where's Hugh or Joseph. If they come in and they're happy and they sit down, and Deepa or whoever's there will make them a coffee and have a chat with them, and then we come down. And so we like to think of ourselves as quite like family orientated, rather than we look at those big city centre offices. We're not like that. We're very different to that, and I think it comes across.
Brilliant. Yeah, well, I'm certainly picking that up, which is wonderful. So what wins would you say you've seen over the last year? What wins? Yeah.
I'd say massive more client loyalty. In that we've had to be there for them, for a lot of them at some of their most desperate times.
Yes.
Especially when we've picked up a few clients because their accountant hadn't been there for them during the desperate times, but I think just the trust that you get from when maybe say the banks haven't necessarily been there for them, or they've not been able to get funding from people that they thought they'd be able to get them from, for us to then come in and use our contacts and our know-how to then put them in front of people who might be able to help them with the funding, or say like getting bounce back loans, or putting them in front of people that can help, or us help using our experience to help them get the funding they need by getting them up-to-date figures, etc., where they wouldn't have been able to get before. And a lot of them don't necessarily like the cloud accounting because it puts a lot more pressure on them to provide us the information quicker. But a lot of them have come up to us and said, that's the only way we've managed to get the funding, because it gave us the tools we need to be able to get the reporting done very quickly, so that they could get these bounce back loans. Because obviously, as you'll know, very quickly a massive clog came up in the banking system, where these bounce back loans took months and months to develop, and people were trying to set up bank accounts with different banks, try and get these loans. But the fact that we had all this information at our fingertips meant that when the bounce back loans came out, they could have their applications in within a week, and then they had the money within 2 weeks. And for some of them, that was the difference between their businesses surviving and not surviving, I would say. So
yeah,
I'd say that's been client loyalty has definitely increased.
Brilliant. And I think, it's, we obviously use the phrase, life's a mirror. The more you support, the more, more loyalty you give, the more loyalty you get. Yeah, that's wonderful.
Massively.
So, of the adjustments that you've had to make, what will you keep doing when we get back to whatever new normal looks like?
I think just making sure that the clients can contact us whenever they want. They already knew it, but I think it's really come home to them in these times when, if they've needed something urgently, they've rang up and said, I'm this close to getting a loan, but I need my bank manager or whoever needs this information really quickly. Can you provide it? And we're just like, yes. And they're just like, I'm so grateful that you're there whenever, like, so quickly and efficiently when we need you.
Right.
And because I don't think we'll stick with the working from home scenario because it takes away some of our core values as a business.
Yeah.
For some people, say they're doing sales or etc. like that, it works because they don't necessarily need to be a part of a team. But I think it really adds to our all-round organisation and the growth of our employees and our team members from being here. So I think that's definitely something we'll look to revert as soon as possible when it's obviously safe to do so.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Is there anything, and obviously hindsight is a wonderful thing, but is anything in hindsight that you would have done sooner, going back to sort of March?
Get some laptops. If we'd have known, we'd have had it all set up so that everyone was fit to work from home. We never obviously envisioned it being a problem, and it was never part of our business model for that to be part of what we did as a team. So I'd say to do that, but also I think going forward, that getting the laptops for them to work from home will mean that we can quickly train up the staff to be able to go and sit out with clients more when it's safe to do so.
Yes.
So the fact they've been comfortable going out and being out of the office, but being able to operate means that say they want to go and do a day's bookkeeping and just sit out with the client and try and get to know their business more, we can certainly push that more. So I think in hindsight, we'd have probably done that before, but the COVID situations pushed us to get them comfortable working out of the office so that we can do that more. And I think hopefully that would create an even better service for our clients, because they can have someone physically there on their site every now and again to ask questions to, or to just to make sure everything's going okay, and really push that side as well. So I think that's one thing that I'd have changed in hindsight sooner. Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. It's really fascinating how the sort of adversity has created changes that are quite, in many cases, very, very positive.
I mean, mine and Hugh's motto is solutions, not problems. So every time something comes up that could be an issue to other people, we just go for it, and we just think of the solution straight away, and how can we make this so this impacts us minimal and creates us opportunities even. And I think we've really done that. So
brilliant. I love, I love the phrase "how can I," because it's like the can I or can't I is one. If we just how can we, and all of a sudden it just opens up. It focuses the mind and opens up so many possibilities.
Yeah.
So obviously we're in the middle of a third lockdown, and what's your reaction been going into it, and where you are now?
A bit of dread with the third lockdown, to be honest. I've sort of had enough, and I was ready to. Obviously, in December for a little while, we had the staff back in the office, and it was really nice. And we were sort of like, this is what we've been missing. Obviously, we had all the precautions in place, but it wasn't quite the same, and you couldn't go and sit next to the staff and do the one-on-ones that we normally do as a team, and so they still didn't have that progression as such. But then I think just going into the third lockdown, there's a bit of an unknown as to when it's going to end. And I think that's quite hard for planning, because obviously you want to be able to have clients coming back in, you want your team back in, you want to see your team face to face and just see how they're actually doing, rather than just asking them how they're maybe doing over Microsoft Teams or Zoom. It's a lot harder to train them and to pick up on any potential errors that they make or any problems that they have. Because it's a bit like anything really. If you're behind a screen, the personal touch goes. Even if you're obviously a Zoom video call is quite good when it's one-on-one. You can sort of get that, but even then you can sort of hide a little bit. Whereas when it's face to face and you're sat next to the person going through things, there's sort of nowhere to hide, which really benefits their development, but also our development as well. So I think the hardest thing is not knowing when it's going to end.
Yes. Yeah, I would completely agree with that. It's
there's dates being banded around, but sorry.
But unfortunately the track record we've had is they do tend to change, don't they? Or meld into something different.
I think that's the biggest one. But we're looking forward to just, although COVID has definitely made us improve our business in certain ways, there's other ways where it's holding us back, and we just want to basically merge the two now and take the positives we've got from COVID and the solutions that we've come up with, which are going to benefit us long term, but also bring back the bit of the old Foster Mann that made us who we are.
Brilliant! Oh, I love that. That's fantastic. So, looking forward, what when it does all get back to something like a new normal, what are you most looking forward to?
Being able to go out to clients again. And just catch up with them, and go down to London for the day to see our clients down there and catch up with them, and going out for myself and Hugh go out for client meals a lot in the evenings and do quite a lot of entertaining in the evenings with different clients. So being able to do that again and get a bit of a release from the office, but also it's because it's work, but it's not, because a lot of our clients sort of become our friends as well. So which also benefits the client relationship, because it means that they bring up things to us which are very important in terms of the advice that we give them, but they wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable bringing up to other people or to clients, or to their accountant if they felt they were a number. And that's where you, again, as well as the management accounts, that's where you get the real value, because we as weird as it sounds, we advise them as much on their personal life as we do on their business life. Because when they're small owner managed businesses, that the two become the same, and one dictates the other and vice versa. So we always say, without actually being able to have the full picture and know our clients' personal affairs inside and out, and even stuff they probably wouldn't tell their partners, which sounds crazy. You can't give them the true, proper, full value advice.
Yeah.
So just looking forward to getting back out and seeing them again, getting back on track with them, seeing how they're all actually doing. That, as well as having our team back together and being able to have our staff lunches together and just come downstairs, be a full office, and ask how everybody's doing and just have a bit of a laugh.
Sounds like you've created a great environment over there. That's I'm sure.
We try.
Yeah, brilliant. That's wonderful. And it's interesting you say about working so close with your clients. The idea of trusted advisors is really key. But there's different depths of trust. There's trust that you can do your job, you can do, transact. But then there's the deeper trust of, can I trust you with telling you things that perhaps, as you said, might be more personal and a bit more confidential? Can I trust that? But by telling you, you're able to help me better. So that's definitely.
We start from the basis that you should be able to go to any accountant and you should be able to do your accounts and your bookkeeping and your management accounts for you. Because if not, then what? They're not accountants.
Yes.
But the real reason they come to you is because they've got a problem.
Yeah.
And that problem's nearly always going to be more important than their actual accountancy. But so they want you to be able to sort that. So when they come in and they say, I want someone to take over my account, you need to actually get to the core reason of why they're actually coming.
Yep.
And I think it was actually it might have even been Paul Dunnu or one of these seminars we went to where they said you need to ask the person why they're here 3 times before you actually get the actual answer as to why they're here. Yeah. And they'll give you the first few times you ask them, they'll give you like sort of superficial answers. Yeah. But then as you delve through the layers, you'll get to the reason as to why they're there, and that's what we try to do. Great. Get to the reason as to why they're actually here and what their true problem is, not just the accounting side. Because, like I say, anybody can sort that. That's not where the value is.
No, to completely agree. To be able to help our clients as well as we can, we do need to have that level of confidentiality, trust, of being able to share things that, as you said, that maybe even we're not telling our partner.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, so just I guess again looking forward, what challenges, if any, do you see that you may have to face over the next year or two?
Potentially some clients having some hardship with their businesses. We have a few hospitality clients who are getting by on the basis that they've got some potential orders coming in.
Yeah.
But that's on the basis that the people that they deal with, their suppliers and their customers, think that things are going to reopen again quickly, and if those orders go, then there could be some real problems. So potentially some more reconstruction side and helping our clients to restructure and to come through the hard times and maybe just survive rather than thrive. Because obviously we always want to help our clients thrive, but the survival element of it sometimes is what needs to be done, and basically just stripping their businesses back to basics and saying, what are we doing here? What can we get rid of? What do we need to keep? And just sort of going back to basics with them, I think, and helping them through the hardest times, potentially again more funding if needed, and just helping them with cash flow and survival. But then obviously some of them in the next year, we're going to have the problems that they're growing so much that they might need to restructure it in different ways. That's the beauty of having a client base, is you're always going to have ones that struggle and ones that thrive. And if circumstances were different, it would have been the complete opposite way around, and the other one would have been thriving and the other one would have been just surviving. But you are where you are, so you've got to just help them both in the best way you can, and be really happy for the ones that are doing great, and be more empathetic and be like a friend as well as a businessman to an accountant and an advisor to the ones that aren't doing so great.
It's I say to many people that I speak to that getting through surviving through a recession is actually a significant win for many businesses, especially in certain sectors, and actually being able to survive, therefore come out of this. Unfortunately, maybe some of the competition won't, which means that getting through it can be moving into quite a big greenfield opportunity on the other side. And it doesn't feel like that when you're going through up to your neck in muck and bullets trying to make it work. But it is true. I've seen it, for my own businesses, but also for clients' businesses too. Yeah,
definitely.
So thinking about yourself a little bit, what would you say you've learned about yourself over this last 12 months?
That we can come up with a solution for pretty much anything we need to if we work as a team.
Cool.
And all of us just sticking together. I think we're a lot more resilient than we thought we possibly were. Luckily, our business seems to be fairly bulletproof, but also I've learned that different people do better in different scenarios. So some people much prefer being in the office, some people hate it. But then having to manage all of that and having to come up with new ways to train your team and to manage your team and to interact with your team is created a whole new different way of communicating, which obviously everyone's had to do it, but you've had to learn pretty quickly, I think.
Brilliant.
Because it sort of went from in a few weeks to the whole communication style of your business changed, and it's been that way for a year. They're pretty intense and pretty quick, I would say.
Yeah.
So that, as well as just having to adapt as a business owner to different client-based challenges.
Yeah.
So obviously everyone, and again, this is going to be the same for everyone, but people will have had a business model, and then you may as well just put it in the shredder. And you had to pretty much overnight come up with a new way of working that was going to mean you could survive, but also you could help your clients survive as well.
Yeah.
So definitely adaptability as well.
Yeah. My favourite quote that I picked up during this period was the Charles Darwin quote, going back, to the origin of species a couple of hundred years ago, which was, it's not the strongest or the most intelligent of the species that survive, but the ones most adaptable to change. And
yeah,
I think that sort of says it all, doesn't it, where we are right now?
Yeah.
It's how we deal with it. And we've seen, one or two of our clients who have been right in the middle of sort of the worst business sectors to be in I've just been amazed how resilient they've been, and one or two, I think specifically just went, I honestly wouldn't have blamed them just to sat with their head in their hands in a dark room for 6 weeks. But they've just gone, no, change it. And what one that we work with, they set up five new different businesses.
I was going to say, it's shown how great business is. It's shown how great business is and how great business people can be, and that you've just seen certain clients who are entrepreneurs just completely innovate and change their business very slightly, but it just means that what could have been a struggle has just been a complete lift off.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the best things as well, is having a client base where you can see these people just do it, and you're just like, I would never have thought of that, but that's why they do what they do, I suppose. Yep.
No, brilliant. No, I think we're quite like-minded in that respect.
Yeah.
So, well, look, thank you so much for this. It's been wonderful. But before we finish, be good to know, looking forward, obviously, that's, I think we're both quite positive people. What does the future look like for you, your clients, and Foster Mann?
Just more of the same, really. Like I say, taking the positives that have arisen from COVID, along with what I think were some great strengths and core values that we had before, and just merging the two and growing our team. We've got a young team. I think the average age is about, apart from Hugh, he'll forgive me for saying that, but apart from Hugh, the average age is about 20, 23, 24. So just growing on that, continuing to develop them as a team so that we can have a team that stays together for a long time, that knows our clients inside and out, and that we can take clients on and they become part of the family very quickly, and that they feel that way as well. Because I think that's I think a lot of our new clients have definitely felt that as well with COVID. They've come in and they've been taken completely under their wing, and they just feel safe. And that's what we want our clients to do, is to feel safe with us, but also feel like they can completely just take off their business as well at the same time, and know that they've got the foundations and some people that have got their backs to be able to do that. So I think it's going to sound quite big-headed, but more of the same.
Brilliant. Well, Joseph, it's been an absolute delight, and I'm sure, given the culture and the values that you've created and the friendships and relationships you're building, that's what's going to happen. So thanks so much for today, and we wish you best. Perhaps you'd be kind enough, maybe we could do this again in 12 months and see what the next stage for you and Foster.
Oh yeah, definitely. Love to, yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Cheers, Chris. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. What was your takeaway from today's interview? Please post it in the comments below, and subscribe for all our upcoming videos, or click for the next video here.